morning, everyone. It's Dr. Cortez. So, for the subject course, Technology for Teaching and Learning, our topic for today is the ethical legal responsibilities ng teachers, learners, in the use of technology tools and resources in education. Once again, it's Dr. Cortez, our speaker for today. Before we start, pwede mo mag-request to click the subscribe button. Support. Thank you for your support sa aking munting channel. And let's move on with the presentation. Let's start with the learning outcomes. So by the end of the topic, this lesson, the viewers, the students should be able to do the following. Ayan, so I'm laying down here the outcome. Example, describing the responsibilities of a citizen, utilizing digital materials, identifying examples of intellectual property. And of the lesson, we're going to talk about this intellectual property and education, demonstrate social, ethical, and legal responsibilities, the use of technology, up to the last topic, the last outcome of the presentation. For the agenda, we have 6 topics. For today, we're going to talk about digital citizenship, the elements of citizenship, intellectual property, guidelines imposed using materials, guidelines, and manners for when using technology. So yung ating mga agenda, the topics for today, and let's dive into action and first topic. So we're going to read this one. So I'm laying down here the background of our presentation before we know our duty as digital citizen. Whether you are the learner or educator, we have the rights and responsibilities now. Basically, we as citizen, not social, not digital citizen, but basic. You know this one that we have rights and responsibilities. Whether you are in the city, in barangays, you are using social media, regardless of your situation, your location, you are bound to follow those obligations and exercise those rights. And because you are not only member of a local community where you are located, but dyan tayo, and we access the internet, we are now part of the cyber community. So we should be aware of those rights. And if you have those rights, it follows that you should also have your responsibility. So I'm an internet user now. So that is the background of first topic for today. And I have here the Venn diagram. So we are pairing ng dalawang aspect of being a citizen, whether you are an internet user or a Filipino citizen. Filipino citizen versus internet user, or you are what we call the cyber citizen. Yung mga nasa Filipino citizenship naman, basically we know those things, right? Example, we have rights like voting, paying our taxes, participates in political, cultural exercises, and protecting or being protected by the Bill of Rights. We have the basic rights, example, connection to education. We have the rights for expression. But of course, if we have rights, that is also subject to police power of the government. Siyempre, for us not to abuse our rights, meron dapat check and balance. So, the government has this police power. So, lahat ng rights now are subject to police power or regulating our rights. The same thing with being an internet user or a cyber citizen or digital citizen because we are in a cyber security. Example, if we are in a cyber security as digital citizen, we should participate in digital communities now. Ganun din pag sa physical world, we have this, we handle, we convene, example, in barangay community. Ganun din sa ating bansa, cyber community. Kasi meron tayong mga group chat na ginagawa. We have Google Classroom, for example. Now, pag meron tayong mga community, ulit sa barangay, di ba? Barangay, they are having us to follow, to comply with rules in our barangay or any other form of community. Ganun din sa cyber security. Meron tayong mga rules na to be followed set by platform. For example, Zoom. Meron tayong mga sinusunod ang protocol or etiquette. If you are in a classroom or digital classroom, whether that is in Zoom or Google Meet, meron tayong sinusunod na ganun din. Dito nga sa MSTEM, we are familiar with MSTEM before kasi meron mga estudyanteng they are removing their classmates sa MSTEM. Parang if they don't like some of their classmates or they are just pranking their classmates, tinatanggal nila sa MSTEM. So that is unethical, di ba? Tatanggalin nila. So those are some of the protocols or etiquette na dapat sinusunod natin when we are in the cyber community. We have the freedom to communicate, express, but we should engage in online communication and content sharing ethically. So, yung mga sinusunod natin kasi meron din mga crime na pwede mangyari sa internet or sa digital world. Ayan. So, but the common denominator for Filipino citizen or you are a digital citizen, parawa tayo mayroong freedom of expression and privacy. Yan ang common denominator ng dalawang citizenship for the physical world and the digital. So we should follow both expressing or respecting freedom of the other person, freedom to express, and their freedom or yung privacy ng ating mga sinusunod sa ating diagram, especially if educators natin, mga learners natin. Okay, so let's move on sa ating next one. If I just additional comparison, a good citizen versus an excellent digital citizen, but we can focus on the column to your right. Kasi ito yung mga pinag-usapan natin sa technology, no? Yung being an excellent digital citizen. For example, number 1, a digital citizen should advocate for equal digital rights and access for all. The data, 5 million school-age children do not have internet access at home. So we are lucky if we have gadgets like laptops, tablets, or cell phones, or we have the internet connectivity. But in other countries, in other communities, wala silang ganitong privilege na experience natin. Yan sa city, Di naman lahat sa city meron ka Pero mga laptop, we have students, I have students that they don't have gadgets. They don't have laptops, So cellphones nga lang I have a handful of students, pero hindi naman ganun karami. But sometimes, I can experience those students that they don't have cellphones. Hindi pa nakapag-take ng exam kasi wala pa akong cellphone. minsan nasira, no? Pero meron, pag nasira, pwede pa gawa kagad yun. Pero may mga sundalo talagang wala talaga silang cellphone na ginagamit. So not all of them have access to digital. They don't have digital access. The second one, as a digital citizen, they should understand all perspective. Data services, 91% of surveyed Gen Z youth use technology to gain perspective on people different from themselves. Ay, maganda yung ganitong number ng data, no? Yung bang you have different perspective na nakukuha even if you are not asking them, but by just viewing their post, nalalaman mo yung kanilang perspective. Hindi ka mag-survey, no? Kasi nakalagay minsan, di ba? Example, last election. Hindi mo sila tanungin kung sino yung kanilang preferred senatorial candidates last time. But based on their post, nalalaman natin yung kanilang perspective. And third, digital citizen should respect privacy, intellectual property, and other rights of people online. Privacy, intellectual property. Yung intellectual property, pag-usapan natin sa bandang sa tail end ng ating lesson. But services, 80% of UK, although this is not in the country, hindi dito sa Pilipinas, no? But sabi ng survey, 80% of UK students believe knowing about intellectual property rights is essential for their future careers. Sa UK, ang estudyante nila, they know what is intellectual property. Hindi lang, talagang bihira aware na. You should be respecting intellectual property. No? I don't know. There is a research in the country, in the Philippines, if what is the data about this. Kaya maganda yung ganitong mga pwede mo sa maging subject. Example, you are now a public or private teacher and can conduct a research about this one, about this data, intellectual property perspective, but in the Philippine context naman, no? Yung gagawin mong scope. And number 4, digital citizen communicates and acts with empathy for other person, humanity, via digital channels, di ba? Knowing their perspective, feelings, putting ourselves in their shoes, dapat nating malaman. Services, 88% of teens who use social media have witnessed other people being cruel. Let's expose mga teens. Kitang-kita nila yung cruelty, crime, cruelty, pranks, fraud na nangyari online. Expose sila dyan, 88%. So they should be aware if the effect, the impact of cruelty online. Susundin ba, gagayahin ba, or they will totally avoid. Or they will be aware that they should not be doing those things na cruelty online. Anyway, the internet is there, so we can avoid expose. Siguro guidance lang sa mga mga teens kasi ito, mga teens. Kumaga, hindi na sila mga bata na i-guide, hindi doon ng mga elementary students na we can use this subject to guidance from parents. Yung mga teens kasi, dalaga na ito, di ba? Okay, so more on citizenship in the digital age. Number 5. An excellent digital citizen applies critical thinking to all online sources and does not share credible sources, including fake news or advertisement. Sa iwas sa pag-share, baka fake news. Sometimes we are a victim of this one. Kala natin totoong siya. Then we shared, then suddenly we realize, nabas ka bigla sa social media, ba't ka nagbabalita lang, ba't ka nagsishare ang gano'n? Buhay pa naman yun ha. Then you will now retract Your posting. Naranasan ko na to minsan. Number 5, a celebrity suddenly died, no? Then I shared that online. Yung pala, fake news. So in that case, I was not responsible enough to verify. Parang spur of the moment. Parang nadala ako dun sa balita, no? Then, hindi pala totoo. Survey says 80% of students mistake sponsored content ads for legit. Ayan. So, marami kasing naloloko, no, na yung balita is legit. Yung pala, at the end, hindi pala siya masyadong totoo. Na-share na natin, no? Masyadong malaki, 80%. Kasi nga naman, di ba? Talagang first look at it, napaka-credible or napaka-genuine, authentic yung balita or yung news, no? So, minsan, papaniwala na akong ganito, yung pala, minsan you are the victim or you're the recipient of fake news. Sometimes, ikaw din nagsasend ng fake news. Research says, 77, number 6 tayo, leverages technology to advocate for and advance social causes. So, gagamitin natin yung social media in advancing our advocacy like environmental protection, wages, protection of the children, rights of the children, di ba? Research, 77 of students share social or environmental information in social networks. So, very powerful yung social media. The same thing that you can be destroyed, it can be destructive. Yung social media, ganun sa powerful. Number 7, last one, an excellent digital citizen. Should be mindful of physical, emotional, and mental health while using digital tools. So pag nasa classroom mga students natin, they are subject to emotional presence, cognitive presence, social. So ganoon din sa mga online classes natin. No? They can be subject or they can be affected by emotional presence ng mga kanilang classmates online or kanilang mga colleague online or kausap. 94% of teen drivers acknowledge the dangers of texting and driving, but 35% admitted to doing it. Anyway, so ang maganda sa internet, lahat can be informed of good values or reminders. 94%, they know this one. Problem is, kahit alam na nila yan, na example, the danger of texting, the danger of meeting people online, danger of talking to somebody online, 94%, they know this one, the risk. Kaya lang, ginagawa pa rin nila. 95% admitted that even if they know the risk, the danger of doing those things, 35% ay ginagawa pa rin nila. Yan ang mga survey, no? Yan ang mga dapat gawin na sa excellent digital citizen and the data provided, no? Based sa research. Okay, so let's move on exploring the 9 elements of digital citizenship. Sources are everywhere. I have told you this one before na we are in the information age. All types of info ay nandiyan sa ating at the tip of our fingertips. Yan. It's the reason that giving importance to technology and education extends to all aspects of a student's life. So we have this group, International Society for Technology and Education. It outlined 9 elements of digital citizenship to help students, maybe the educator as well, to navigate online resources. We're going to talk about those 9 elements na we can be beneficial of as teachers. At yung mga learners din natin, we can share this one. The learners. Okay, so let's dive into this one. Elements. The first elements of digital citizenship, syempre, we can advocate digital info, digital education kung wala silang access. Wala silang gagamitin, so what is the use of teaching online? So the first element is digital access. With the use of technology, the teacher can facilitate helping students from disadvantaged communities, barangay, Pilipinas mas marami po sa Pilipinas yung rural areas. Sorry, don't although may mga rural areas sa Pilipinas na they already have access to the technology, to the internet. Pero meron pa rin wala. Meron pang lugar, walang kuryente sa atin. How much more if having internet access? We should teach them how to find valuable and safe information on the internet. This one is one of the rules of the educator or teacher. Mga info na sa internet na. So we don't have to feed this to them. Ang ating rule dito is to facilitate, to tell them saan pwedeng kunin and how to use the info. And we are just facilitating, we're no longer spoon feeding the info sa kanila kasi nandiyan na. Paano lang gagamit ng info? Yan ang ating pwedeng gawin as educator or teacher. The second element, digital etiquette. Meron silang access. Right? Ibang usapan yung meron pang access. Baka may access and they were overwhelmed kung anong ginagawa nila sa internet. So there should be digital etiquette. Being rude, how to be polite, avoiding being rude sa internet. It's concerning every digital user with respect. Respect all users, mga kausap natin. Respecting their time, their opinions, their values, their privacy, and avoid inappropriate conduct and demonstrating the essential virtual manner, being aware of the outcome of cyberbullying. We can be the victim. Kahit tayo mga adult or educator, we can be victims of bullying. Okay, may impact sa atin. Pero if we can imagine how much more is the impact of cyberbullying dun sa mga learners natin. Example, mga sa basic din pa lang ng mga elementary students, junior high school students were very prone to cyberbullying. Ang mga madalas mong bully, mga nasa school, mga basic yan din. Sa college, meron pa rin. We have students that were victims of cyberbullying sa college. They will just rub it off, pero sa elementary or high school, maybe they can't just shrug it off. Ang impact sa mas malalim. So to avoid this one, if we are as a responsible digital citizen, we should refrain from cyberbullying, masyadong patinding pangbabash sa mga kaya may iba't ibang they will just shut down their social media to avoid cyberbullying. Kasi may impact yung cyberbullying. Pag physical, pag kayo nag-aaway, kayo lang, di ba? Harapan. Pero kung cyberbullying, nag-post ka, hindi lang sa nakakabasa, kundi marami pang mga lahat sa kanyang social media. Okay, the fourth one, digital commerce. This refers to selling and buying in the digital market beautifully. Kahit mga estudyante, nagbebentahan dyan nagbibintahan sila online. Plus, digital citizen, we are not just communicating, we are not just teaching, we are not just learning, we can also do buying and selling. Kaya mga estudyante natin, pwedeng gawin. Nagbibenta, live selling. Yung uso sa mga mga teens, di ba? I have lots of students that have been doing online selling. So, as part of digital commerce, no? Kitaan. Sabi ko mga marketing students ko sige, that is a practice naman if you are doing online selling, di ba? Kasi marketing students to boost your confidence. Yan ang important. Hindi masyadong, even if you are not earning that much, yung online selling, but on the other side, you are boosting your confidence. Natututo ka magbenta, mag-communicate, tatanggal ang iyong inhibitions, anxiety, shyness, tanggal. Mga introvert, that's good one is good training, no? Hindi ka nalalabas ng hindi ka nalalabas ng bahay mo, di ba? That is good training, mga online live selling. Kahit walang masyadong kitain, but it boosts your confidence. Ang magandang aspect. Pagdating sa school, gagamit sa recitation, yung kanilang training, yung kanilang yung guts na pagharap sa camera. Alright, so digital rights and responsibilities important. We know how to act politely, but we should also know our responsibilities. Right? It is just like freedom of speech that all students have privilege while using the internet. Meron tayong responsibility. Hindi lang gamit mga learners natin. This one is a privilege. Using the internet is a privilege, and making sure that these rights remain available for everyone by treating other users fairly, respecting their privacy. So, if you want to be respected, if you want your privacy, respect. Mamaya pag-usapan natin ang mga rules or guidelines in posting, before posting, so that you will not violate privacy, intellectual property rights ng mga taong kausap natin sa internet. And then the fifth element, digital literacy. This refers to teaching internet skills in class to help bridge gaps in digital literacy, and by doing so, students will display the ability to learn how to use technology and access. So, having an access is different from digital literacy. Magkaiba yung responsibility, access, and digital literacy. Kasi ito kasi if you are now have access, if you know your rights and responsibility, punta na kayo sa paano gagamitin yung technology, sharing online, learning, teaching online. Example, where to get information. Tayo mga teachers, our rule is to guide the students where to get the info na pwede nilang gamitin. Kasi hindi na natin tinuturo sa kanila, di ba? Bigyan mo yung link sa kanila. Paano gagamitin, how to paraphrase, rephrase using tools sa internet. It's digital literacy, no? Na pwede nating ituro sa mga learners natin. Paano mga tools ang pwedeng gamitin, example for paraphrasing, for grammar checking, for summarizing. If we have project about video, where to get guide on what tools to be used in editing the video. Yan, translating, how to create content. Yun, no? Saan pwede kumuha ng PowerPoint na built-in PowerPoint. They will just enter the text and the tools itself will now generate the PowerPoint for students. So, yung mga sabi rules natin, we don't have to give them the content, no? Kasi nasa yan. We're just giving the references. sa kanila, how to conduct research. Yeah. Okay, the next one, digital law. This encompasses guidelines, policies, and rules set by an organization for using the internet. Example, preventing plagiarism and putting phones away in classes na. Kasi as digital citizen, we are accessing lots of info, references online, but we should know the rules of the plagiarism, rules of copyright, how the legal ethics, the ethical, the legal rights of the owners, and how to cite citation, no? We should always cite or ask permission doon sa may-ari. Ang isang online sources na ating ginagamit online. Okay, so let's move on. Digital communication, this has something to do with the importance of teaching students to communicate safely, whether that is through texting, emailing, social media, and online games. No? So, may mga etiquette or protocols tayong sinusunod if we are trying to communicate online. Example, emailing. Yan. Pag may nag-email sa'yo and you have given him the email, kaibigan mo naman siya. So, first thing in the morning, pag-ising pa lang natin, we check the emails, di ba? Then we reply to the emails kasi unethical or it is not polite. Ignore yung mga emails na nasa ating mga inboxes, especially if binigay mo email address mo sa kanya, tapos nag-email sa'yo, then you will not reply. You will ignore the emails. That is rude. That is being impolite sa communication. Okay, and we have the digital health and wellness. These are proper practices in the use of the internet. Example, pag inaabot ka ng mga ilang oras na ikaw ay nakaupo, no? So proper proper posture. Kasi if you have been using the internet, if you have been using your laptop or desktop 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can imagine the effect of this one to your posture. For example, stress on your eyes. So kahit may digital access ka and you're practicing responsible communication on the internet, number 8 natin, we should also not forget yung ating personal lives, health, and wellness. No? Okay, ikaw ay sobrang polite sa internet, sobrang polite, you have been answering all your emails, nakalimutan yung digital health mo and wellness. No? Yung mata mo, malabo na, yung posture mo, you are not practicing proper posture correctly. So we should avoid too much screen time. Meron tayong sinusunod na di ba? You can, if you have not known this one yet, you can use this, no? Personally, or sa mga learners nyo later on sa academe or sa basic ed, no? The 2020 rules. Maybe some of you know this one, the 2020 rules. So I've been practicing this one for the past 10 years na, pero minsan nakalimutan mo rin, di ba? The 2020, sa tatlong 20s to, 20, 20, 20. The first 20, every 20 minutes. Example, you are using your laptop or desktop. Every 20 minutes, you take a break. That is the first 20, Every 20 minutes, you take a break. Kasi wag dire-diretso, wag sa oras na you are staring at your screen. Ang oras Isang oras tapos yung mata mo, labo na. Take a break after 20 minutes. That's the first 20. The second 20 is you look at a green object 20 feet away. Yan pangalawang 20. You look at a green object. Example, trees, plants. That is 20 feet away. Kaya pag nag-break ka, internet, laptop, nag-break ka. 20 minutes, okay. So, you move your eyes and direct it to the thing 20 feet away. Green, maganda green objects, no? Ang stress reliever ng mata yan. Yung pangalawang 20. Yung pangatlong 20 seconds. Sabihin, you stay at the object that is 20 feet away for 20 seconds. Yan. 20 minutes, 20 feet away, and 20 seconds. Pagkatapos niyan, after 20 seconds, so balik ka na. Yung screen. Ayan. Especially sa mga, sa mga bata, kaya naman marami nga nagsasalamin ng makakapal, di ba? Sa mga learners natin. Ayan. So, basically, protect them physically and protect them psychologically. Kasi minsan mayroon silang yung mga nambubuli sa internet or they have been so affected by their the things they are viewing at the internet, example, websites or mga naglalaro, di ba? Di ba dati may nabalita na a group of children were too engrossed sa isang personality sa internet, then yung sinasabi ng personality ay ginagawa nila real life, suicide or example. Anyway, mabilang balita dati. And number 9 is the last one. Digital security is to ensure internet safety lessons for children. It could include anything from why privacy online is important, what to do if they encounter cyberbullying in the net. Iba kasing mga learners. Pag nabullying, they will confine it to themselves, hindi sila nagsasabi. So, especially mga mga nasa elementary, so important pa rin yung guidelines ng mga parents, mga basic ed learners, na important pa rin guidance ng mga parents for they can filter out anong binubi ng mga anak nila sa internet as part of digital security. So mga 9 elements of digital citizenship, digital learnings. So move tayo sa intellectual property rights applicable to the educational setting. We're going to talk about copyright, plagiarism, related copyright law. So I'm going to introduce you to Donald McCabe. Donald McCabe is a professor, academician in Rutgers University. Meron siyang ginawang research connected, or we can refer to his researches dealing with learners, mga digital learners natin today in the 21st century online. Ito, he conducted this one, the number of university students, meron siyang ginawang research na about using the internet, about plagiarism, about copyright. Yan. So mga data niya is he says for us, that is an eye-opening. Although the scope of the research is not in the country, but important is we can be aware of those things na pwede na mangyari sa Philippine context, or you can have this topic as your subject of own research, pwede mo siyang gawa ka ng related study sa Philippine context by following the scope na ginawa ni Donald McCabe. I'm going to present this one in this example, a survey of over 63,700 undergraduate students and 9,250 graduate students. Ito yung kanyang scope. These are the respondents of this research, mga undergrad students. The first one sa percentage. Ganun karaming percentage of undergraduates admit to paraphrasing, copying few sentences from internet without footnoting. Meron pa rin percentage sa mga estudyante na copying from the internet na hindi pa pinaparaphrase. Ayan. Kaya lang, hindi nila ginagamit ang footnote. Kasi sa research kasi nila, if you are going to take a data or info from the internet, kahit yan ay na-paraphrase mo, na-rephrase mo, dapat mo pa rin i-cite or i-footnote yung original author ng materials. Kasi failure to cite yung author that is commensurate to plagiarism. So, meron pa rin percentage sa mga estudyante na gumagawa ng they are not footnoting, hindi gumagamit ng footnote. Next data, 38% of students admit to paraphrasing view from written sources without footnoting it. So you should ako to paraphrase, no? Meron namang mga tools how to do a phrasing. Okay? So pinagkaiba ng kulay dilaw, copying from internet. Ito naman, copying from written sources. 38% kinuha sa libro, nag-paraphrase, pero hindi nag-footnote. Sa libro, ito naman sa online sources. The third one, 14% of students admit to fabricating, falsifying a bibliography. Pag kumuha ka ng internet sources, important yung pinanggalingan. Yung sources yung para credible, di ba? Website, journals, books, e-books, magazines, blogs, seminars. So, dapat nilagay sa bibliography. Example, you are doing research there. Kasi pag nagpapa-assignment tayo, mga learners natin, important that we should present the sources, the bibliography, and sources. Now, the thing is, they have downloaded or they have copied something from the internet, from social media, sources from websites. Nakalimutan kunin ng bibliography. And the tendency for them is to fabricate or falsify a bibliography. May mga students akong ganun eh. Example, the topic is research, senior high school, practical research ang topic. Sabi ko, you list down all the references kasi ilalagay sa likod yan. Di ba siguro nakalimutan, they are just falsifying kasi nakikita mo, di ba? Example, sa kanilang citation, nakalagay yung pangalan ng author and year. Pero pag hinanap po sa bibliography, wala. Ibang nakalagay. So they are fabricating. Okay, the next one. Percentage, 7% of students self-report copying materials almost word for word from a written source without citation. Ito dalawang unethical practices. Copying from online source word for word, hindi na-rephrase. Kasi nga, di ba, basic naman to. If you will get something from the internet, you should rephrase, not verbatim. Hindi siya dapat word for word. You should express the from online sources in your own word. Ang pangalawa dito, nag-word for word na siya, hindi pa binanggit yung original sources, hindi pa nag-citation. So, this is plagiarism. Kasi usapan na natin, di ba? If you have gotten something from the internet, you rephrase, you paraphrase the materials that verbatim, and you should cite. So, hindi porke nag-rephrase ka na, hindi mo na cite. That is wrong. That is plagiarism. Kaya tag-citation ka na, tag-citation ng mga learners natin, they should still cite the author, the year of publication, and this dose and the bibliography. Next one, 7%. Self-report, turning in work done by another person. Yan. So parang inako, no? Inako yung kanyang research. Example, article o research ng ibang tao tapos ginamit mo na inako mo na sa'yo. Meron akong mangyari ganito, no? Without mentioning names, pero yung research, kinuha na sa isang university. Nahuli nung panelist. Yan. So, napahiya yung estudyante, napahiya yung school, napahiya yung research director ng university. Yan. 7% lang naman eh. Masyadong marami. Next one, 3%. Kunti na lang, 3% na lang. 3% report obtaining paper from term paper mill. Kung wala pang internet, usong-uso yung term paper mill, no? Kasi 'di ba in high school high school pa lang we have experience writing term paper. If I can recall, no, una kong ginawang term paper was in high school, maybe 4th year high school. The subject was social studies. Kami talaga yung gumawa. Walang reference, walang online references, but encyclopedia ang aming ginagamit namin dati sa aming term paper. Pag may tamad yung estudyante, they will go to term paper mill. Basically, term paper mill, ibig sabihin may mga scrupulous person na gumagawa and term paper for other person, of course for a fee. Diba? Anggitin pa natin si downtown Manila, ang dami yan, diba? Sa Recto. Maraming ganun na. Sa UBEL, maraming ganun mga shops na gumagawa ng term paper. Ngayon kasi hindi na masyadong uso yung gano'n kasi marami ng sources. Ginagawa lang naman yan ng mga students paghirap silang magsulat. Ngayon kasi they can just download para paraphrase. Maraming sources online. So 3% na lang daw yung patronize ng paper mill business. So wala masyadong kita yung mga nasa U-belt na mga shops na gumagawa ng kung ano-anong mga projects for students. Babayaran lang sila. Okay, so let's move on. Ito naman yung intellectual property. Rights refer to exclusive rights of the creator over the use of his creation or specified period of time. The WTO customarily divides intellectual property rights into two main areas. Firstly, the copyright and rights related to copyright and industrial property. So may dalawang property, yung sulat, ginagawa, tapos yung physical mong ginagawa, mga inventions, mga invento. So, ito yung mga subject intellectual property, mga may-ari ng copyright, may-ari ng industrial property, you own the rights. Now, pag na-violate, kasi those are exclusive rights nila. Pag na-violate, so you can be accused of infringement of copyrights. Sa education, may ganun din nangyayari, di ba? Example, we are copying videos, present mo na project ng teacher, present estudyante, sariling video, he shoot the video, wala hindi sa kanya. So that is infringement of copyrights owners. So pag copyrights, that is legal violation. Pag plagiarism, that is ethical violation. Okay, so let's dive into this one. Number one, ito yung sa copyrights. Copyright and rights related to copyright, the term of protection. Ito mga sa Philippine context na mga literary artistic work are protected by copyrights during the lifetime of the owner or author, and plus 50 years after his death, tumatakbo pa rin, covered pa rin siya ng copyright. Example, mayroong nagsulat ng kanta, Freddy Aguilar. Then, habang buhay siya, iba yung mga kanta that is copyrighted. Nung namatay siya, magbibilang ang 50 years upon his death, hanggang doon yung coverage ng copyright sa isang author, composers, video programs, directors. At sa mga movies, yung producer pala yung producer may hawak ng copyrights. Musical composition, paintings, sculptures. Ito yung mga some of the artistic and literary works protected by copyright. So mga pag ikaw yung teacher or learner and gumamit ka ng kanilang film, so you should credit them. You should credit the author. Yan. Sabi ng isang, I attended a seminar one time at the Ateneo. Nagtanong ko doon sa speaker, Sir, pag mayroon akong pinost sa aking wall, na video, tapos naglagay naman ako ng CTTO. Diba CTTO means credit to the rightful owner. CTTO. Naglagay naman ako ng CTTO. Yun ba ay yung violation? O sabi ng speaker, kahit naglagay ka ng CTTO doon sa iyong posting, still violation pa rin yan ng copyright law. Yan ang sabi ng speaker So kahit pala kahit maglagay ka ng for entertainment or not intend to have copyright infringement na may note ng gano'n, violation pa rin yun ng copyrights law. Okay, sila mga covered ng copyright. So let's have this one. Works with copyright. Ito yung mga works na may copyright movies, diba? Mga composition, music, books, photography, films, yan mga paintings, yung mga works na copyrighted na mayari. Sir, question, pag nagpa-Xerox ba, public violation? Nabasa ko na may guidance for photocopy. Hindi pala siya covered ng or intended for multiple copies na pa-photocopy tapos distributed sa mga estudyante. May guideline para sa ganon. Para sa exempted from copyright. There is guideline for photocopy. Pero pag yung photocopy, binenta mo yung profit from the photocopy. So, yung violation mo. Pero for educational purposes, distribution yan, photocopy. Kasi ba ikaw yung may-ari ng libro, di ba? It is not practical for you anymore na habulin yung lahat magpa-Xerox ng libro mo. Ay, accuse mo sila ng copyright, hindi mo salang practical sa'yo, di ba? Ba yung owner or author ng libro. Kasi covered na siya ng photocopy law. Okay, why copyrighted? It aims to encourage and reward creative work. Under this, the rights of the performers, mga movies, actors, singers, mga composers, musicians, composers, producers ng mga movies, sound recordings are protected. Kasi nga, di ba, ikaw naman yung gumawa ng literary or artistic work, wala kang papakinabangan, so sayang naman na hindi ka properly protected under the law. So by the way, the country that is under the IPO, Intellectual Property Office by the DTI. I know that is in BGC, yung office ng ng IPO sa BGC Taguig. And so, number 2, ito naman yung cover ng mga physical, yung kanina mga artistic or literary works, kanta, movies. Itong number 2 naman, ito yung mga invention, for example. Ito na mga patent, mga, by the way, copyrights, patents, trademark, ito yung mga asset. These are intangible asset naman. But example, somebody invented a gadget na ginagamit sa school, no? Tapos is protected. He should be protected. Patents. So that is under industrial property. Hindi mo siya pwedeng kopyahin. Example, somebody invented a board, a whiteboard, no, na ginagamit sa ating classroom. Marami kasi minsan natin, di ba, pag nagbura ka ng board, kalimutan mong i-save, di ba? Sana may board, may whiteboard na nag-auto-save siya. Nakasulat doon, nag-auto-save. Para kahit burahin mo siya, di ba? Kasi di ba mga teachers ngayon nakalagay sa board, save. Sabihin, huwag mong buburahin. Kaya paano pag accidentally nabura, di ba? If somebody can invent a board na nag-auto-save siya, na nakasulat na nag-auto-save siya, example, last 1 month, nakasave doon. Ay ka naka-invento niyan, you should have that patented sa IPO natin. Yan, that is industry. Sir, sinong muna magpapatent? Tapos 2 tao, no, naka-invento ng board na gano'n, na ginagamit sa class. So, who will be the first one? Example, si A, na-invento ngayong araw na to, June 17. Hindi niya pinapatent. Tapos si B, naka-invento, the same thing. June 18. Isa kasi, pumunta ka agad ng IPO, pinaregister. So, sino may-ari ng patent? Siyempre si B. Kasi kung sino daw yung unang nagpa-register sa IPO, siya may patent para sa gadget. Hindi yung unang naka-invento, kung sino ang unang pumunta sa IPO, siya yung magmamayari ng patent under the industrial property. So, ito trademark, no? If you have a brands that's protected by trademark, graphical indication, invento ka naman gano'n, no? So, trademark or patented. Okay, so be aware mga educators or learners, be aware of those. Number 2, industrial property, and number 1, mga literary works are protected. So, the use of internet pati without proper citation. So, there is copyright infringement. So, let's discuss pinagkaiba ng dalawa. Copyright. Kasi ito yung mga madalas nating gagawin or ma-encounter sa classroom. Infringement. Kasi hindi porke nakalagay sa internet ay free, ay hindi sa pa rin yan, proteto pa rin siya ng copyright. Diba nakalagay doon? Kasi kahit nga sa mga video editing tools natin, ay mga music na pwede mong gamitin. Pero pag in-upload mo sa internet, ay copyrighted pala siya. So yung kita doon sa video mo, hati. Kita para sa'yo, tapos kita doon sa creator ng music. So kahit pinapagamit sa'yo, nasa na hindi sa copyrighted. Kasi with that, books have copyright. Ganun ang mga internet or printed materials na published in the internet. They are also protected by specific copyright. So, sabihin, the readers are prohibited or kung sino may access sa mga resource na yan from plagiarizing the content. So, parang sa physical world din, di ba, na yung libro na nakita mo physically, copyrighted yan. Ganun sa internet, pag may nakita ng e-books, that is also protected under copyright law. So, hindi ka nag-citation, unethical, that is committed plagiarism. Plagiarism is a crime of unethical practices. Okay, so Below are the guidelines on online use of copyrighted materials. So, kung naka-display sa internet daw, copyrighted unless may nakalagay na hindi sa copyrighted. Okay? So even if it does not display, kahit walang mga copyright symbol na nakalagay, that is still copyrighted. So number 2, copyright laws cover an email for its originality. One cannot just use it or share mga emails natin. It is not recommended to forward an email na nanggaling sa nag-email sa'yo from yung pala is it is intended only for you as a recipient of the email. So hindi dapat kasi forward without permission doon sa nagpadala sa'yo. So you should asking them, can I forward this email to my colleague? Pag affirmative, so okay na. Pero pag walang iba it is unethical to forward an email. Di ba tayo basta-basta nagpo-forward ng mga email sa mga kilala natin kasi if that is intended para sa ilang. Ayan. Number 3, making copies of articles from a newspaper's website and distributing them to your students before the class discussion on the topic is permissible. Kasi nasabi ko kanina at photocopying guidelines permit making multiple copies for classroom use only. Ayan. So, specific nag-photocopy ng libro, nag-photocopy ng internet website, gagamitin sa 40 copies, gagamitin sa classroom. Permissible. Ang hindi permissible yung nag-photocopy tapos ibenta mo siya. Tapos hindi na siya for classroom use. So violation na siya ng copyright. So be responsible enough. Mga teacher, be responsible enough sa pag-distribute mga ganitong mga At pag nag-photocopy ka, we should always mention the sources. So we should credit yung may-ari ng resources. Okay, and or you cannot post students' essays, poems, or other works on the school website. Ito pala, ethical, no? Yung kanilang mga gawa, we should not always post them sa website ng school, bulletin boards, unless you have permission. So I can recall, yung pala nadaanan to. Kasi one time, yung mga sa isang what's the subject? Art Appreciation App. So the teacher asked the students to draw. Mag-paint sila. Siyempre, sarili ang gawa na yun, di ba? Tapos, dinisplay ng teacher sa lobby ng school. I'm thinking now, kung nagpaalam naman sa mga student, pwede palang i-post, pwede palang i-display sa lobby ng school ng mga gawa ng mga estudyante. So pag hindi, I'm thinking, pag hindi pala nagpaalam dun sa mga estudyante na i-display ng mga paintings sa lobby ng school, sa bulletin board, sa website, sa newspaper ng school, ano pala siya, that is unethical pala. Even if hindi pa sila copyrighted, pero unethical pala siya. So we should always ask permission pala sa mga may-ari. Kahit sila mga estudyante natin na under natin o under our authority, we should always ask permission pa rin sa kanila. Educators should threat copyrighted materials from the internet the same way as they do sa print version. So print version is the same with the soft copy version. Pareho silang copyrighted. So pareho magpapaalam dun sa author. Kahit yan ay online ang sources natin. Paalam sa author. No? Ito na ko minsan natin kasi may nakita ko minsan napakagandang article na authored by a professor from PLM yata, no? Basta in downtown Manila. So napakagandang article. I want to share the article sa mga students ko. Nakalagay naman yung email ng ng faculty or ng author. So I emailed in. Wala lang, papapaalam mo sa kanya, not expecting that he will answer back right away. But on the same hour, nag-reply siya, giving me the authority to use the materials, to photocopy the materials, no, and to be distributed sa aking mga estudyante. So the important thing, we give credit sa may-ari or sa author ng isang resources. Okay, so plagiarism versus copyrights. So we talk about plagiarism. Plagiarism is an ethical violation while copyright is about legal violation. So take note that plagiarism and copyright infringement are related ideas kasi pareho silang sa mga literary works, books, songs. But they are different. Kasi ang plagiarism, an act of fraud involving both stealing someone else's work and lying about it afterward. Inaako mo yung gawa, hindi mo bananggit yung author, hindi ka nag-footnote, hindi ka nag-citation. So that is plagiarism. So yun guys, no? Copyright infringement versus plagiarism. Plagiarism, copying someone's work without citation, and you lie about the sources. Example, inako mo yung literary works or books na hindi pala ikaw yung nagsulat. Okay, next one, plagiarism. Ito yung mga things about plagiarism. We differentiate plagiarism from copyright. According to Bilbao et al. 2019, we cited the following as plagiarism. Example, making someone else's work as your own. Inako mo yung books, idea, or articles, and you did not cite the owner, di ba? Basically, pag nag-cite tayo, we write the surname of the author and the year of publication. And pag meron siyang direct quotation, ginamit mo sa iyong writings and without putting the quotation mark, so plagiarism. And also citing incorrect information about the sources. Altering words is also form of plagiarism. Altering words but retaining the sentence structure of a source without giving credit. So kahit yung buong sentence daw ay kinopya mo at may pinalitan na kayo isang word lang and you did not cite the author, that is still plagiarism. Using so many words or ideas from a sources that it makes up the majority. Itong sinasabi nating yung buong article ay kinopya mo in your own paragraph without paraphrasing or rephrasing. So, plagiarism. Whereas, copyrights are the following. Example, using media from other websites and paste them on your papers, that is, or website, that is copyrights violation or copyright infringement. Creating a video using footage from others' video. So you will notice na ikaw ay nag-post ng video sa iyong wall sa Facebook, hindi ka i-monetize kasi that is copyrighted materials, or is your the Facebook will remove the video, hindi niya i-play pag copyrighted material. Example, may nakita kang video from a TV network, ABS-CBN for example, tapos kinat mo yung portion, tapos pinost mo, copyrighted. Ano siya? Or playing another person's copyrighted music into a performance, di ka nagpaalam, copyrighted. Creating a piece of music that borrows heavily from another composition. Yan. So you should be paying, magpapaalam ka. And you will pay royalty, for example, dun sa example, isang kantang ginamit mo sa iyong music video, magpapaalam ka. Anyway, mayroon namang mga open sources ng music, diba, na pinapayami paggamit sa atin. Ito yung mga hindi copyrighted na mga music or audio na ginagamit natin sa ating mga videos. Okay, and meron tayong tinatawag na digital tattooing. Ibig sabihin, pag meron kang ginawa or pinost online, forever, nasa online yan. Kahit yan ay tanggalin mo, delete mo yan, para siyang tattoo, di ba? Pag nagpatattoo ka, that is permanent. Ibig sabihin, pag di ka nag-post online ng example, music, photo mo online and later on, you will remove yung posting mo, nandun na siya. Hindi na siya matatanggal doon. Although dinelete mo, pero meron ka ng footprint online. Why? Kasi nga may nag-screenshot na, may nag-download. So hindi mo na mahahabol mga yun. So all users, we should learn from this one. We should be responsible enough in posting. We should think twice before posting something on our social media account. Kasi mahirap na siyang i-remove. Now we're going to talk about those things na 5 things to ask before posting. So let's have this one. First one, intindihin natin. What do I like? What do I look like? Pag nag-post ka, example, photo, or anything, or music, or joke, isipin natin, no? Always remember that the way you look like in real person, in real world, pwede siyang iba. Intention mo is to look good in the internet, para pag-post ka, iba yung kinalaban. Kasi minsan, yung perception mo na photo mo or face mo sa social media, may inisip kung maganda, di ba? Hindi dapat ang mukha mo, pero minsan iba yung kinalalabasan. Yan. How you look like may not always be the way others see it. So akala mo para sa'yo, napakaganda na yung posting, example, jokes, or photo or video, para sa'yo maganda, di ba? But in another person's perspective, pwedeng iba siya. Okay, pangalawa, we should be wary of, is this ink permanent? Pag nagpatattoo ka, yung ink permanent, diba? So you should be aware na pag may pinost ka, that is permanent. Anything you share in the internet is permanent. That is beyond your control. Di mo sa pwedeng baguhin. Kahit even if you will delete your posting, you can never tell how many persons have screenshot or downloaded mga share mo sa social media. Kasi it is always easy for other people to share for us. It is always easy for us to share. Pero hindi natin alam the consequence of posting. So think twice before posting something in the internet or social media account. Okay, the third one, am I giving away too much? Masyado bang marami ang ang pinost mo? Baka naman lahat ng info ay nandoon na to the point na pwedeng kopyahin yung personality, yung birthday mo, signature mo, nandun doon, birthday addresses, and somebody can now dito, loan. For example, a credit card. So keep your identity as private as you could. Bawas ka naman ang pwede mong i-share sa internet. Don't reveal too much of your personal info. Credit card number, naka-reveal ito. Social security number, naka-reveal. Kasi pwede mo siyang gamitin. Those data can be used against you, or those data can put you down. Can destroy, no? Can destroy the owner ng mga data na yan. Okay, so the fourth one, this is the last one. What I want this year about me. So meron kang gustong info. So gusto mo bang i-share yan? So think twice before you share something that involves other people. Pag solo ka lang, okay lang. Example, photo. Pag may kasama ka minsan, and example, hindi masyadong pleasant yung photo. So you should be asking permission. Na okay na bang i-share to sa social media? Example, nag-shoot ka ng video. Okay lang ba na, and example, prank, no? Prank yung video na sinut mo. Siyempre, that is embarrassing for the other person. So you should be asking him, is it okay to share this one? At the aking prank video, is it okay to share sa social media? So you should be asking, permission. So the magic here is always ask permission from them if you are going to share, for example, a funny picture, a funny photo, a funny video ng taong subject. You might not know how they feel when rude comments. Kasi sabi natin kanina, ink is permanent. So permanent yung mga posting mo. Example, embarrassing situation ng isang kaibigan. Pinost mo internet, no? So forever, nandyan na yan. The sad thing is, you will now be the subject of embarrassment, comments, funny comments, diba, ridicule. So, can imagine, yung mga dami ng taong nakapanood. At ganoon din yung dami ng taong will ridicule the person on your photo or video. Kaya mas pagitin mga students or mga learners yung subject ng ating in-upload. Okay. Know your manners when using technology. So we have etiquette personally. In real world, we have etiquette. In online, we have this what we call the netiquette. The poor netiquette can stick around to disturb you much longer if not forever, because the rule books of etiquette are just as vital in cyberspace. So hindi lang applicable sa personal, real life, physical world ang etiquette. According to Hart in 2020, meron ding etiquette sa cyberspace. The same thing as they are in real world or physical world. Now, Hardy in 2020 suggested 10 basic rules of etiquette to avoid damaging your online and offline relationships. So, mayroong mga relationship na nasira because of student to student, classmate to classmate. Diba? We have those online, offline relationship damage because of not practicing etiquette. So we're going to talk about those 10 basic rules na pwede nating gamitin sa ating mga classrooms to be given sa ating mga learners or students. Okay, so let's dive into this one. First one, make real people a priority. Kung may kausap ka, you treat the person, as human. Kasi the most irritating situation, pag meron kang kausap, or ikaw yung kausap ng isang tao, the most irritating situation is when during your conversation, yung kausap may hawak siyang cellphone or gadget. Tapos palagi siya nakatingin sa gadget, kinakausap mo hindi sa isn't making eye-to-eye contact.
We should remember the rule in the face-to-face communication, that we have to look at people directly on the eyes of the people when you are communicating with. If you are with people and your phone rings, so kaya nga pag may kausap, di ba, in example meetings, classroom, the teacher should always tell the class to turn off yung kanilang mga gadget. Kasi nga, sometimes absent-mindedly, sinasagot natin mga cellphones. Right? Or to that you cannot accept a call at the moment kasi meron kang kausap. Or if you want to answer your call, example that is emergency and that is really unavoidable, don't answer the phone in front of the person you are talking to or in front of the class. Just permission to go outside. Press the caller to call back later. Okay, number 2, etiquette. Use respectful language when you are talking. Watch out for foul languages. Be respectful at all times. Not just what you say, but also how you say it. Yung intonation ng mga voice natin. Either take the trouble to use the shifty for capital letters. Example, if you are typing an email, be wary of using the capital letters. Kasi nga, di ba, if you are writing, if you are using the capital letter, it is equivalent to as if you are yelling or shouting. Pag nagka-caps lock. Kaya sa isang school ko, mayroong rule doon na pag ikaw nagpadala ng email, aside from the fact that you should answer the email, respond to email right away, you should not be using all caps. Kasi nga, that is equivalent to shouting doon sa mga kausap. Okay? So, it will be pleasant if you say please and thank you sa lahat ng mga correspondence natin if you are writing emails. Yan, so always use the word thank you and please as a sign of an educated person. Kahit yan ay personal, in real life, no? Or using the thank you and please na mga wordings. Okay, so let's have number 3. Share with discretion. Always be on guard in sharing something. Maybe you are sharing unpleasant materials, drug picture example, dito, embarrassing photo of a colleague, of a friend, na shared mo siya online. Ano pa, mga drunk pictures ng classmates, or sexy pictures ng classmates, or unedited home video, in-upload mo. So you should be, that is under your discretion to share something. Example, sabi nila, pag yung nag-shoot ng video, it is okay na i-upload the video, raw video. Example, nag-shoot ka ng lesson. Raw video is okay, pero mga raw video na unedited, na may classmates na nakuhaan, naked or sexy or drunk, out of his drunkenness, nakuhaan sa ng video, mga dapat ini-edit. Kasi may mga videos na dapat na magandang i-share na raw, may mga video naman that cannot be shared as raw videos. Dapat ini-edit daw natin yon. Ano pa, pwede sa mag-apply sa mga employees or classmates. Ayan, mga example, nag-party sa school. So dapat ini-edit. May private doon na not for online sharing. Okay, and the 4th one, don't exclude others person. Be careful with online jokes. This means nag-post ka, di ba, sa online, tapos may nag-comment, yung comment niya, inside jokes nyo, kayo lang nakakaalam. It is okay if the joke is, kayong dalawa lang. Pero pag pinost online, nag-comment, sometimes, hinahide ko yun eh. Nag-comment, example, I posted pictures of ay students, no? From one school, then nag-comment yung ibang mga kaibigan mo. Yung comment, okay yun pag kayo-kayo lang, di ba? Pero pag nag-comment siya in public, yun, hinahide ko yung mga ganong comment eh. So those should be kept in private. Don't embarrass the person in a bigger group with your obscure comments or jokes. The same thing is true with texted or email jokes. The best way not to hurt somebody else is by not sharing that joke at all. You can keep those jokes inside your inner circle lang ng mga ng friends. Pero pag naka-public siya, masyadong maganda. Especially mga students yung mga involved dyan. Okay, so let's have the number 5. Respond to emails promptly. If you have given your email to somebody, ibig sabihin yan, you want to accept emails from them. Tapos hindi mo sinasagot mga emails, no? Kasi the first thing in the morning to do, no, is to respond to emails. Be careful with sending a friend request. Be sure you know the person whom you want to be friends. Yan. If you don't want to be in touch with someone else, don't add them kasi pag in-add mo sila, ibig sabihin you want to accept messages from them, emails from them. Okay, so the 6th one, choose friends wisely. Hindi lahat, paramihan ng friends na sa Kasi remember, when worst comes to worst, it is insulting to be dripped from someone else's friend list. Add ka ng add ng friend, di ba? And that friend does not want to be a friend with you. Then later on, idadrop pa niya sa kanyang friend list. Kaya naman na ikaw ay in-unfriend ng mga kaibigan mo. Okay, next one. Don't email large files. Kasi nga, pag nag-send ka ng isang large file, you are consuming what you call this one? Yung space. Yung Google Drive space ng recipient. So you can just send a link sa kanila. Don't attach it on email to avoid crashing their server or depleting their inbox. Ayan. Kung masyadong marami sa mga junk mails, no, pinapadala mo sa kanila, hindi masyado important, then you are sending this to your mga kaibigan mo. Wala masyadong marami. Parang the same thing that you want. You also don't want to receive large emails in bulk from other person hindi mo kilala. Okay, respect people's privacy. 7 tayo, no? So, avoid sharing the information sent to you without. Meron tayong pag we are sending emails, information, meron tayong CC or BCC. CC carbon copy, BCC blind carbon copy. Kasi if you want to send an email to somebody, so you should also be discreet na that's the recipient. The recipient also doesn't want to know. The recipient does not also want that other persons will know na naka-receive siya ng email. Di ba minsan, pinadala ka, tapos ayokong malaman ng iba na nakatanggap din ako. So dapat BCC ang gagamitin mo, blind carbon copy. No? Now, ang default is the CC, di ba? Pag sinabing CC, lahat ng recipient nakikita kung sino nakatanggap ng emails. But if one person doesn't want to know the others na nakatanggap din siya, so BCC ang ginagamit natin. So we should be using CC and BCC in sending email. Kasi nga, because of privacy, di ba? One time na sa isang university, may isang estudyante sir, ba't mo pinost yung result ng aming grade pala? He does not, sa president ng organization, tapos yung kanyang score ay mababa. So parang nahiya siya na malaman ng ibang mga classmates na yung kanyang score mababa. So mula nun, ginagamit ko yung parang student number. At least hindi nila alam kung sino yung yun. Nakakaalam, yung tao lang na ay student number. So pwedeng gawin, student number ba. O kaya email address. Pag hindi available yung kanilang student number, email address. They made them posting the score, the results of exams or quizzes. Alright, so this one, number 8, important. Checking before reposting. Kasi there is a tendency for us na sobrang ganda yung post na nakita mo sa internet. Tapos nire-repost natin. Pala, hindi sa masyadong totoo. Naranasan ko to ng somebody, a celebrity, kinukwento ko kanina, no? A celebrity died, then I was too overwhelmed na I should be posting this one. Then pinost ko siya, yung pala hindi totoong patay na yung celebrity. Right away, I remove my post. So, dapat mag-fact checking before. Kasi may mga fake news, di ba? So, sometimes, pag may balita, ang una kong pinupuntahan yung mga credible na websites. Example, Rappler, ABS-CBN. Before, pag na-check ko na doon, yun, so pinopost ko. O one time din tulad ng may laban ng boxing. Boxing yata ng isang famous Filipino boxer, Donaire. Tapos ng Japanese, no? May nag-post, panalo si Donaire. So pinost ko rin. Congratulations to Donaire. Palang totoo, talo pala si Nito Donaire. So, kaya tuloy ako, no? So, fact-checking before reposting somebody's post. Okay, the last one. Update online information mo sa mga website mo. Dapat updated yan. So, mayroon kang, if you have link in account, you should always update. Keep your website up to date. It is a way of making people aware of your availability. Kasi mamaya, di ba, nag-post ka ng personal posting that you are available working to work. Tapos yung pala, hindi mo siya na-update. Tapos may tumawag sa'yo. Pinapag-report ko for interview pala, hindi na pala updated yung posting mo. Okay, those are the things that we should be checking before posting something on the internet. So I know that is the last slide for the day. I would like to credit the following websites ang ginamit sa presentation na to, and hoping that you got something, guys, for this presentation. Once again, this is Dr. Cortez, Doc Rich. Thank you for listening, and mga students ko, thank you. And nice to have you in my class once again, everyone.